Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and this might not be ready for Friday. I'm recording this on Fixed Blade Friday, and it will be, a video coming out soon, but probably Saturday, maybe late Friday night. This is a knife by HX Outdoors with D2 steel. It's an entire system, the way when you get it as a package. The D-141 D2 steel is what they say that it is, and I think they're probably using D2 steel, at least from the little bit of testing I did. It seems to confirm that, and that's always been the result with HX Outdoors. So I do believe that they're an honest company in terms of the claims of what steel they use. It's called the Tiger Shark, or Tiger Sharks with an S. Tactical dive knife. Dive knife? It's got a ferro rod with a compass in it and stuff. No, you don't want to dive with this knife, at least not with this sheath. The handle is a G10, and there's hex screws in here that are made to take it apart because there's all kinds of extra features and stuff with this. So we've got an odd multi-grind blade here. It's got a sharp spine. Those are actual plenty sharp serrations on there. And then you've got your cutting edge down here, but we've got a different grind here than we have here. And then we've got the serrations up here. So there's lots to talk about. And we're just going to go through this as a little bit of a storm in case you're interested, but I don't want to waste a lot of time, but it will take some time to go through this also. Stick around. This knife comes in a good size box, like it says here, Tiger Sharks. You can see their website right here if you want to go check them out. They've got an English version of the site, so you can read all that about it. It looks like this knife came out in 2013, probably. Here it says the 7th day, or the 7th month, 28th day of 2013. It says that for some reason. I've only seen 2 reviews of this knife. One in French and one in English, and the one in English was basically an unboxing video. On the back here, you get an idea of what all comes with this package. There's the knife with the handle scales off, handle scales on, and it has paracord so that you can wrap it with paracord. And it's got lots of lashing holes. You could lash this to a stick if you want to and give yourself a spear. I'm not generally into that, but if you've got more than one knife, and this is your second knife, it actually might be good for that because it's got a sharp edge on 2 edges there. There's another picture of the knife and the different components. The sheath, this is ABS plastic, and then you've got that extra piece right in there with a ferro rod. It's also got a thermometer and a whistle in there. The compass actually works. It's fairly accurate. And then you've got the webbing on the sheath right here to hang it from your belt, or strap it onto some kind of molly-esque system. Let's open this up and see what's inside here. I did do an unboxing. You're supposed to get some sharpening fluid, some honing fluid. This is empty. It arrived empty, but the box was dry, so not sure why that is. The other unboxing video that I saw, his tube here was about half full. So you got that. You're given a little bit of a what they call a cleaning cloth. It's just a microfiber cloth. Put those things aside. Here's your paracord, and it has an Allen key that comes with it too. And that Allen key is supposed to be for taking the handles off. So let's talk about some of the cons here right away. The Allen key doesn't fit properly. So if you put it in here, that's a lot of movement there. That's quite loose indeed. You're going to end up stripping either the soft Allen key or wrecking the screw heads and stuff. Get an Allen key that fits if you want to take this apart. And I won't be taking it apart on camera. You saw those pictures. I'll show you some other pictures too. It's easy enough to take apart. I don't do paracord wraps very well. I just don't have the patience for it, I guess, but you could do that. There's holes in the handle here for lashing points right there. The handle feels very comfortable, the G10 in hand. It's done very well. I'm saying this knife is going to be comfortable for anybody with a man's hand between medium and extra large, including extra large, because you got all this extra room, and my hand is sometimes men's glove, I have to buy extra large. Sometimes men's gloves, I have to buy large. And so I'm right on that borderline between large and extra large. So there's lots of room for larger hands in here. And there's a forward choil there as well. That forward choil is not all that large though, but it does have a flat section there that's not sharp. So very safe to hold on that way. And a spine here, you've got a little bit of jimping there, a little bit of jimping here, a little bit of jimping on the back. Use this knife for crushing things, and then a little jimping there and there. So comfortable knife indeed. Sharp edges, strong tip. Sharp edge here, dual grind. And then we've got this section down here as a chisel grind. That's odd. Very odd indeed to have a chisel grind on here. I don't like it. I don't like having that blade chisel ground on the back. It does have a bevel going down, and then it's only sharpened on one side. The very first time I sharpen this knife, I'm going to put a bevel on this side as well. But, that's that. So let's look at the rest of the sheath. We've got a whistle on here that you can blow in. I'm not going to do it to make a big bad noise. Hole there to tie it off on something. The compass actually works. And it's coming to a stop. And yes, that is north, the way it's pointing north. So that's accurate. And back here, there's a thermometer. And the thermometer is also accurate, but it's really hard to see it. And it's in Celsius. You need to be in bright sunlight or flash a flashlight on it to be able to see that flashlight. Here's the ferro rod, and you can see that, let's see if I can get this focusing again. You can see that I've used it to strike a little bit. Well, where on the blade did I strike it? Well, I didn't, because we've got cutting edges everywhere, and then there's no other sharp edges. There's no 90-degree corners anywhere. So I'd either have to ruin an edge or potentially ruin an edge, or strike it somewhere else. I decided to strike it on the corner of this. This is a little bit of a supposed diamond stone. I would wager almost anything that's not genuine diamonds in there at all. And it feels very coarse to the finger. I've seen this kind of stuff from HX Outdoors before, and it's very, very inexpensive, cheap stuff. So I wouldn't use this at all until you're in an emergency situation and you just have to use something to sharpen the blade. Then you might want to use that up, because it will wear out very quickly. A few strokes on here, not too many strokes. It will take a little bit of steel off, but it'll ruin this sharpening pad, and then it's useless to you pretty quickly. There's a hole here with a post in it for tying off. So if you want to tie this off on something else other than using this lashing, I guess. Otherwise, I've got no idea what you would use that for. And here's the Velcro. So yeah, you can open this up and strap the handle on something if you want to. And you can unscrew it if you want to take the entire handle off and just use this, to lash off the ABS plastic here somewhere. You can take this housing section here for the ferro rod off if you want to. Very positive click. It's not going to fall out, at least not easily when you're using it. And there's your belt loop right there. And then there's another little loop up here. So not quite big enough to put a belt through there, but it's another spot to loop something through if you want to. And then they did this in a weird way. There's Velcro on the inside, but if you want to use this to hold the knife handle in place, you got to fold that over, and it comes like this, holds that on there very well, and not much noise, not very loose, holds on quite well. And yes, there's holes at the bottom to drain out if it gets wet. So that's the sheath. Not great, not bad. A little bit gimmicky, yes, but still rock solid in terms of being able to use it to hold your knife and carry it without your knife easily falling out. So now we're done that. Now we're down to the knife here. We've got D2 steel, like I said, and this odd serrated grind. These serrated edges are quite sharp from the factory. let's get the focus back down there again. It's quite sharp from the factory. It works very well to chew through some stuff if you want to. The tip is very strong. I did use it in some softwood, some pine, some construction, some 2x4s and stuff, the stabbing in and breaking over, and the tip is still good. So that's good. And then you've got a thick edge behind a grind. You've got a flat grind here, so a saber grind, and then you've got that chisel grind there. I'm not going to be doing a bunch of cutting demonstrations with this right now. You've seen how knives cut, and it cuts like a knife. Yeah, you've heard me say that before. It really does cut like a knife. This cuts like a chisel grind section, and that cuts like a nice belly on a knife. Let's give you all the measurements now. Put that over there. Where's my little thing? Oh, we'll use this today. As long as that is in the corner of the video, I'm talking about the measurements. Oh, I forgot. Just before I do that, there's the paracord that comes with it. So it's decent 7-strand paracord that comes with it. Measurements. The cutting edge is 9.5 centimeters, 3.74 inches. That's this cutting edge. That cutting edge is quite a bit shorter. The blade length, so the tip to the G10 here, 11.15 centimeters, 4.39 inches. The blade thickness is 4.3 millimeters. That's 0.17 of an inch. The blade depth right here is 3.2 centimeters. That's just over 1.25 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind. Now I measured from the flat side to top of that little bit of a grind there. 0.7 of a millimeter. That's 0.0275 of an inch. The thickness behind the grind here on the belly, it's almost a full millimeter. It's 0.95 of a millimeter. That's 0.0375 of an inch. So that's thick behind the grind. This is a chunky knife that's designed to last for a long time. And being D2 steel, yeah, it's designed to work hard through stuff. It's not designed to have a super fine edge. This isn't a super slicing kind of knife. This is a hard-working, get it done kind of knife. Like I said, it's a cross between Tacti-Cool and Survival and Gimmick kind of knife. Let's get back to the measurements. I keep getting distracted. Angles. So this is weird. The chisel angle, the grind angle of this chisel, one side here, is 26.8 degrees right here. The grind angle here on both sides, it's very close to the same. 18.9 degrees on this side, 19.0 degrees on that side. So that's very good that it's nice and evenly ground. And at the back here, it's a fair bit steeper of a grind. You've got thicker steel here that you're working with, and so they had to go steeper. That is 25.2 degrees and 24.5 degrees on this side. So thick, chunky, chew through stuff kind of cutting edge right there. The handle length is 11.52 centimeters. That's 4.54 inches. The handle thickness is right here. It's the thickest, 1.95 centimeters. That's 0.768 inches, and thinner at the back. The handle depth, right there, it's the deepest, 3.07 centimeters. That's 1.21 inches right here. And what's the other measurement we got? The grip. The grip distance, so between my two thumbs right there, the grip distance is 10.5 centimeters, 4.13 inches. And the total length of this knife is 23 centimeters. Oh, I forgot to do the measurement. It's a little over 8 inches. I'll put the actual measurement on the screen. The weight of this knife, 230 grams, 8.1 ounces. And when you add in the sheath, including the ferro rod, then we've got 382 grams, 13.45 ounces. So 13.5 ounces for all this. How much does this knife cost? Well, it depends on where you go shopping. If you go shopping at GearBest, you're going to be paying $58.80 US. At Fast Tech, it's $55.49. You can get this on Amazon.com for $89. So what do I think of this thing? Well, I like this forward choil. It's done very well. It's nicely rounded, nice good grip, and it doesn't have a sharp corner there. So when your finger's in there, you're not going to get nicked on the side. So that's a good thing. There's a large enough thumb rest area there, so you're not going to get cut unless you start reaching over like that and pushing down on it. The handle is very, very comfortable for just about any grip that you want to grip this on. You know, reverse grips, you know, fist grip or hammer grip, using that choil, as long as your thumb doesn't go up very far. You know, pinch grips. There's a lot of good grips with this. And, you know, being decent D2 steel, I kind of like that. It's got the holes for lashing. And this time I'm going to say, if you do have another good knife, this might be a decent knife to lash onto a stick. Take the handle scales off, you know, cut a notch down the stick. You know, if I'm just going to, for instance, this is a stick, pretend this isn't here. You would cut down the center of the stick, you know, so you can spread apart the two halves and then slide the piece of metal inside it, you know, and then lash it on there. Because you've got a sharp edge on both sides, this could work half decent as a spear. But if you don't have another knife, then just use this to make a sharp point on a stick. Then you've got a stick with a sharp point, which can pierce, and you've got a knife. Other things that I like and don't like about this, I mentioned the comfortable handle. I really like the strong tip. Very well done. The nice strong tip on this. It can fit a variety of hands, like I said, medium to extra large in men's sizes. Can get a good grip on this. And that this serrated edge is actually useful because it's made quite sharp. You know, the flat edges are sharp and those little notches are sharp as well. What are the cons on this thing? I'm not fond of this chisel grind in here. I wish it was just the same grind all the way across. If I was to keep this knife, so if nobody chooses to contact me and ask to buy this off of me, what I would do is I would sharpen this as, you know, a regular grind on both sides. It just would be a little thinner right here than it is right there. And there's no problem with that. You handle that no problem. But I wouldn't leave this as a chisel grind. And, you know, it's a decent enough knife. It's a decent enough carry system. The ferro rod works and it doesn't fall out easily. You know, it's kind of interesting that way. Terrible Allen key. So I'm not even going to keep this with the system. I'm not even going to give this to anybody if they choose to buy this from me. I'm not even going to include this because it's going to be worse than giving them nothing. Because this way it's going to slip and ruin these screws or slip here and somebody's going to hurt themselves. Just get rid of it. So terrible Allen key. I'm not fond of the multi-grinds. You know, the thermometer, you know, it works, but it's only Celsius and it's next to impossible to see unless you're in a very bright light. You know, the cheap sharpening stone here, you know, you could have just put nothing on there and it would have been just as good. But you've got decent ABS, good blade retention, and, you know, a nice clip system. And I like that your belt loop is here. And so most of the knife hangs well below your belt. So it's not one of these that sits way up high on your hip. That's my idea of this knife. The pouch that comes with it, this is a good pouch. It's got a good MOLLE system on this side, you know, with snaps that you can use when you put it together. The zipper is a good zipper, good retention here. And you could just cut out or tear out this soft foam on the inside if you wanted more space. But the knife does fit in there just fine. I would throw this out as well. There's no way this thing can seal very well. It just can't do a good job sealing in your honing fluid. But, you know, the idea is good and you can put something else included if you want it to. And, you know, you got your paracord as well. A decent little system. So if you're looking for a knife like this, check out my links below. Fast Tech or GearBest are your best choices depending on which place you'd prefer to shop from. I get a commission from either one of those places if you choose to buy it. The knife that kind of Tacti-Cool, but still kind of useful as well. So thank you very much to my Patreon supporters for sponsoring me, for helping me out. And thank you to everybody who watches, likes, shares, comments, subscribes. You guys are awesome. And remember, everybody, cut towards your chum, not your thumb.